The other day, I was on the phone with someone and they were basically telling me, oh, I went through your stuff online, I was checking you out, and I noticed that you're a perfectionist. So, yeah, that kind of like took me back for a minute. I was like, I mean, I'm not really a perfectionist per se. I've never really been called a perfectionist before, but I do like things a certain way. I do like things just so, and like showing up in my best way possible and looking as close to perfect, not looking physically, but whatever I'm doing, looking at as close to perfect as possible. But I've also realized in thinking about it over the last few days that perfectionism is not what got me where I am today. Perfectionism can often hinder living in your purpose and appreciating your purpose and enjoying the fruits of your labor and really pushing yourself so that you get to the very utmost in making an impact and allowing yourself to be used as a vessel for the work God wants to do here on earth. So I want to talk today a little bit about perfectionism and how it can hinder living in your purpose. And I also want to talk about a few things that if you are a perfectionist right now, me looking at my lip, if you are a perfectionist right now and that's something that you feel is holding you back and you feel is really you're struggling with, or maybe you don't even notice that you're a perfectionist, maybe this talk today is going to allow you to see that, oh wait, I have been letting that hold me back. Let me fix that. Let me work on that. Let me push myself past my comfort zone and allow myself to actually push myself into where I'm supposed to be. So the first thing that I often find when I'm struggling with perfectionism, or I hear from somebody who's struggling from perfectionism, is having analysis paralysis. Literally thinking and thinking and thinking and planning and planning and planning, over analyzing every single detail and being like, oh, it has to be this perfect way. I can't start my Instagram until, I have a perfect layout. I can't step into this job until I know how to do everything perfectly. And this in and of itself will stop you from doing anything great. Larry was saying to me the other day, he was saying, I don't know if it was a quote that he heard before or something he heard before from somebody, but it's this thing that where somebody said, the dumb people or the people that are not smart, they go the farthest because they take the most risks. They're not sitting there overanalyzing everything that could possibly go wrong. They are just doing, and I've talked about this in a previous video, they are just taking chances, taking risks, not over calculating. Obviously, there is a point where you have to make calculated guesses and calculated risks. That's important. But if you're always just calculating and always in that planning phase, that's really going to slow you down and maybe even stop you completely. Maybe you're in that phase right now. Maybe you're like, I want to be in social media. I do want to share my life. I do want to share my struggles and how I've overcome them. But I'm not where I want to be right now. Maybe you're in fitness like myself and you're like, I don't have the physique that I want to have in order for me to start sharing with people how to reach their goals. Or maybe you're like, I'm not quite there yet. I don't know everything I need to know about my line of work in order for me to actually help people and inspire people and make an impact. And maybe you're just still in that planning phase. I want to challenge you today to think past that planning phase and think about, what can I do today? What small thing can I do that will put myself out there that can make a small impact, no matter how small it is? Maybe it's an impact in your household. Maybe it's an impact in your own personal life. But how can I push through and past that planning stage so that I am practicing imperfection, practicing just going for it, practicing getting past that paralysis, getting past that analysis paralysis. And every time you push yourself past that, it's going to get easier and easier and easier. And you'll start to see that, oh, I haven't been planning so much. I have been planning in the meantime, but I've been executing and executing and executing. And that's where I'm starting to see results. One thing that really bugged me when I first started my first job was that they would always say, oh, you need to have this many years of experience. You have to have experience in this and this and this. And I was like, How am I supposed to have experience when I'm applying for my first job? What? And so I want you to think about this in this step that you're taking towards your purpose. You don't have to have experience. You don't have to have years of doing what you want to do in order to do it. Take your first step. Don't let your mind trap you in and make you think that, planning, the more planning you do, the better it's going to be. The better, in order to make it better, you have to do more. You have to push more. You have to show up. Maybe you don't have the perfect camera set up. Maybe you don't have the proper equipment. Maybe you're not finished your certification. Do something today. I challenge you. If you've been in analysis paralysis right now, write down in the comments, take a moment to write down, hey, I've been overanalyzing this, and this is what I'm going to do today to make a small step towards overcoming that analysis paralysis and pushing myself to the next stage. Another thing those who deal with perfectionism deal with is fear of failure. What does that mean? Yeah, you're afraid to fail. Yes, okay. But why are you afraid of failure? Why are you afraid of taking risks? Think about that for a moment. Are you thinking about what you want to do and you're automatically thinking about all the things that could possibly go wrong? Switch your thinking. How many things are going to go right? How many people are you going to impact by stepping into your purpose? How many things are you going to nail and just be an exceptional version of what you thought you could be? Think about that. The Bible says to think of things that are lovely, things that are pure, things that are beautiful. Think about the positive things in everything. Don't think about the failures that are going to come, because that is inevitable. And I'm telling you right now, as your sister, failure is inevitable. If you're doing things right, you are going to fail many times. If you're afraid of that, you'll never do anything. Those people who are great, the people that you see on stages, the people that you see that are celebrities, people that, are the best in their field, they were willing to be humble enough. And that's what it comes down to. It's your ego that is holding you back from, oh, what if I fail? Come on, let go of those thoughts. Let go of your ego. Let go of that need to be perfect all the time. I know it's so much easier said than done. But again, practicing it in small ways, not being afraid. And it doesn't have to directly relate to the field that you want to be in or what you want to do. It could be simply taking on a new hobby and not being afraid to look silly. For example, I started doing tennis. Not being afraid to look silly, throwing your racket or hitting yourself, or, not being afraid to be in that weird place, that place of, oh, am I doing this right? Oh, am I failing? Okay, so I actually read this book this past week. It's called Why Women Buy. It's important for me to learn about that because my clientele, the people that I service, the people that I help are women. And I want to be able to reach them and touch them on their level and understand where they're coming from and be able to guide them to the proper solution. So this book was talking about how she did this exercise where she told everybody to sign their signature with their right hand or their dominant hand. And for me, that's right hand. That's why I said right hand. And everybody did that, no problem. And then she said, okay, now switch to your opposite hand. And she heard groans like, ugh, and they didn't even have to do the signing yet with that opposite hand, but they already had that emotion, that fear that they're not going to be able to do it as well as they had done it with their other hand. And so she said that ugh, or that sound of that is the sound of progress. That little grunt you let out, that little thing that you let out, where that emotion that you feel when you're about to try something new, that is the sound of progress. So if you are wanting to overcome your fear of failure, Keep working on allowing that sound to replay through your head in everything that you do. Maybe you are not great at cooking. Maybe you're really bad at baking. And every time you set yourself out to do that or try to follow a recipe, you hear that, ugh. Do it, girl. Do it. Is the way you do one thing, and I'm seeing this so often as a theme in my life, the way you do one thing, it carries across to multiple, if not all aspects of your life. So practice it in other ways. If you're really, really, really afraid of failure, if you're really afraid of putting yourself out there and going into your purpose, thing that you know that you're going to be good at, work on other things. Maybe it's baking, maybe it's organizing, maybe it's running a marathon. Make yourself uncomfortable. That is the only way you're going to learn how to put yourself out there and how you're going to learn how to overcome that fear. Now, another thing we deal with is procrastination. Who here procrastinates? I want you to call yourself out. Call yourself out in the comments. Say, I am the procrastinator, or I am working on my procrastination. Phrase it that way. Don't say I'm a procrastinator. I don't like labeling yourself on something that you want to change. Don't say that. Don't say I am this and it's something that you don't like about yourself. Say I am working on my procrastination because that is something that I've been struggling with, but I'm going to overcome it. Procrastination. I still deal with this one. I still struggle with this one. For example, I make workout videos and I film a workout video maybe at least 3 times a week. So 3 days a week, I'll do one workout each day. Or at most, I'll do 5 workouts a week. So 1 per weekday. And sometimes, most times actually, I'm calling myself out here. I will wait till the very last second, not last second, but like the last few hours to make the template for it. And I know exactly how it's going to go. I know exactly how to put it together. I know exactly how it's going to turn out. But I procrastinate because I'm like, I want this to be perfect. And this procrastination really hinders me because I get more stressed about the workout. I get more stressed that, oh, I'm not prepared. And I notice that when I don't procrastinate, that is when I do the best workouts. That when I don't procrastinate, that is when I feel most prepared and I feel most confident when I go into the workout. So what are you procrastinating on? What are you waiting for the perfect time for? I'm going to tell you right now, there is no perfect time. There is never going to be a perfect time. Never. Never, 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 never. To the people, I mean, there is a better time for having kids, but to the people who have told me in the past, oh, like, I'm waiting for the perfect time, or I'm waiting until the best time to have kids. I always tell them, there's never a perfect time. That's one of the greatest joys in life, and there's no perfect time to do it. When Larry and I had our baby, our first son, Kaizen, we didn't have a house really. I had an apartment in Toronto, but we knew we weren't going to stay in Toronto. When I was pregnant in my second trimester, we stayed at my in-laws' house. We stayed in our room in their house. In my third trimester, we moved back into an Airbnb in Canada. We had the baby in Canada. Then 4 months after, we came back to the States. We had an Airbnb there. And then after that Airbnb, we moved into an apartment. That's where I started my YouTube videos. So backtracking to when I got pregnant with him, I was not ready. I had very little money in the bank, but I was mentally ready. And so that does play a factor. But waiting for the perfect time for you to do something is so counterintuitive. It's counterintuitive because, well, like I said, there's going to be no perfect time. But every time that you wait for that perfect time, every time you're in that mode of there's going to be a better time than now, that's just you procrastinating, you putting off the inevitable, you putting off something that could help you grow. And because I had my son, when I had him, it pushed me so hard. Larry and I had a fire under our butts for a good 2 years. And that's when we built our YouTube channel. That's when we went from 11,000 subscribers in 2019 to 2021 having over 1 million subscribers. So in that 1.5 year span of time, it was, I think I was maybe 10 months after I had my son that we started my channel. And then in 2021, we had 1 million subscribers on our channel. We were earning quite a bit, enough to sustain us. And if I had been like, you know what, I'm just going to wait till I'm ready, whether it was to have kids or like financially stable to have kids, or if I'm going to wait until my body is completely perfect in order for me to start filming videos, one, people would not have the inspiration that they have today to see that, wow, I can change my situation. The way I have lived my life in taking risks, taking chances, has allowed people to see that you don't have to be perfect to achieve a great outcome, to live in your purpose. You don't have to. And maybe people coming into my life now or coming and following me now see like, oh, she has it all. Of course, it's perfect. It's easy for her to live in her purpose. But no. If you're one of those people who just started following me, thank you, first of all, or follow me on Instagram or subscribe to here on this channel. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. It would mean a lot to me. But if you're one of those newer family members, know that it wasn't always this way. And I don't say that what I have right now is perfect, but it is much further than I was when I started. So don't procrastinate. Don't wait for the perfect time. Another thing we deal with is unrealistic standards. Perfectionism in and of itself, like the definition of perfectionism is, well, I don't know the exact definition, but you are waiting and looking for the very, very, very best outcome. You only want the best outcome. And by the best, I mean perfect, a perfect outcome. That is never going to happen. First of all, perfect doesn't exist. But another thing with unrealistic standards is feeling like you're not good enough. Feeling like who you are isn't going to fit the envelope for what you're meant to be. And sometimes that can come with your past. Maybe in your past you felt as though you were put down, and that made you feel like you're not good enough, and you've carried this all your life until now. And everything that you think about, everything that you want to do for yourself, you've always been like, you know what, well, I'm not good enough. Everybody else, they may have what it takes, but I'm not good enough. I want you to challenge those thoughts. Challenge where that thinking is coming from. Is it actually you truly thinking that you're not good enough, or is it somebody from your past? And what I want you to do is do an exercise of forgiveness, forgiving yourself for all this time allowing you to feel like you, somebody who is made in God's image, you who has power, who has purpose in this planet, in this earth, in this time that you have available to you on earth. Forgive yourself for putting yourself down. I also want you to forgive those people in your past who put you down. I personally deal with bullying. When I was in grade school, there was a girl in my class who made a Let's Hate Joanna Club. That's literally what they named it, Hate Joanna Club. And that really messed with my self-esteem. And then even a little bit later, as I started to, go into puberty, I started to gain some weight, and I was chubby, and there were also people in my life who would make fun of my weight. And that really messed with my self-esteem too. And it affected me in one way, but it affected me in my entire life. It affected me up until I decided to address that and to forgive myself and forgive my family and forgive the people in my life who had put those labels on me, who had told me that in an inadvertent way that I wasn't good enough. So maybe you need some forgiveness. Maybe you need to realize that, I am good enough. I do have worth. I do have a purpose. Those things people said about me, they're wrong. As simple as that. You were created for a very specific purpose. And if you keep listening to your past and allowing that to narrate where you are right now, you will get nowhere. You will stay stuck where you are. You will always be looking at everyone around you being like, why can't I do what they do? And it's all because you're unwilling to forgive those people from the past and yourself in the past. Forgive yourself. Forgive them. Move on. Nobody else, especially at this point in your life, I'm sure at this point in your life, is even looking at you that critically to a point where it even matters to them what you're doing with your life. Another thing, our perfectionist mindset, I'm not going to call it our perfectionist mindset, but the perfectionist mindset gives you or leads you to is burnout. So many of us deal with burnout. So many of us deal with wanting everything to be perfect, working towards everything being perfect, and then ending up just feeling completely burnt out, feeling like, what is even the point? And this can be physical, this can be emotional. Feeling that burnout is just so discouraging, and it's because we keep pushing ourselves to that end goal, that unachievable end goal. It takes something that has meaning in it, something that, could be meaningful, and sucks the meaning out of it. Think of the last time that you felt burnt out. Maybe it's right now. Think about it. In those moments, you are thinking, what is even the point? Why should I even put effort into this? This is just draining me. This is making me feel like complete BS. Like, think about it. So if you're always looking for perfection, if you are always pushing yourself towards perfection just for the sake of being perfect, know that you will burn out. And until you embrace imperfection, until you embrace pushing yourself towards that goal without the need to be perfect, will you start to see real progress in the right direction and sustainable progress. I'm almost done. Another thing that we struggle with, I'm going to stop saying that. We don't struggle with this. This is something we used to struggle with. I don't struggle with this. You don't struggle with this. We are going to work on this, and we are going to get out of this perfectionism mindset together. Perfectionists, they focus on the outcome over growth. They think about, what is the very end result? How is that going to be perfect? How can I end up being perfect, instead of thinking about how growth can amplify where they are right now? Because that's what it all comes down to. It comes down to the small steps, the small actions, the small wins, everyday life that is allowing you to grow. And a year from now, you don't see it every day, you don't see it every week, but a year from now, you look back at this point in time and you're like, wow, I really grew. Because I was willing to let go of perfection, I pushed myself, and I was able to see that growth can happen, inspiration can happen, impact can happen when I stop waiting for the perfect time, when I stop procrastinating, when I stop having unrealistic standards. So if you're struggling with this, I want you to start focusing on the growth that you are achieving every day. Don't wait for that perfect moment. Don't wait for that perfect outcome. Focus on your growth. Focus on what you can do today. Another thing perfectionists do is they avoid authenticity. This is something that I have actually struggled with in the past is, I only want to appear in one certain way. And it's something that held me back from actually starting this channel for a long time. I only wanted to appear as the fitness instructor, the fitness girly, the go-to fitness girly, and that's okay. It's okay. But I knew that I had so much more to offer. I knew that I had guidance to share with women who feel stuck. And so that pushed me to be in a place where I'm like, okay, I need to start talking. I need to start letting my voice be heard. I need to start letting God speak through me so that I can impact people in a new way. And I haven't really avoided authenticity in its entirety. I really have throughout my career up until this point, and even I plan on going forward too. Really include those times of vulnerability, those times of, even especially with my transformation photo that I share often after my first C-section, I was in such a bad place. And me being vulnerable has allowed so many people to realize that the position that they're in is not the position that they have to stay in. So if you avoid authenticity, if you avoid being your true self and showing your true struggles after you've overcome them, or even while you're struggling with them, if you avoid that, that is holding you back so much, and it's holding those other people that are looking at you back from seeing what they can achieve. I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's selfish. It's selfish to hold yourself back and to dim your light. Be authentic. Show up unapologetically as you. Maybe that's in the way that you smile. Maybe that's in the way you do your makeup. Maybe that's in the way you talk or the way you make jokes. Be unapologetically yourself. Show up as you. Nobody can be you or do you better than you. You are so beautiful. You are so strong. You have so much to add to this world. Sorry if I yelled in your ear. Just be unapologetically you. Be authentic. Don't avoid authenticity. That is going to be your secret sauce. Your secret sauce. So don't avoid it. One last thing that perfectionists struggle with is, and it kind of ties in with burnout, is struggling with your resilience, struggling with keeping on going even when things don't show up perfectly. I really want you to work on that. I want you to work on being resilient, pushing yourself, getting to that point of almost breaking and then reinventing yourself, showing up in a new way and allowing yourself to fail and fail and fail. You will get it right if you keep practicing that, if you keep putting yourself out there, if you keep being authentic, if you keep letting go of procrastination, letting go of that analysis paralysis. Start working on your resilience. Again, it doesn't have to be right in where you want to be, whether it's social media, whether it's showing up as in finance, in law, in whatever aspect of your life. It doesn't have to be in that aspect that you have to work on resilience. Yes, I encourage you to go for it, go for that, but work on something else. Maybe it's your routine. Don't struggle with that resilience. Push yourself to be resilient. Now, there's 3 things I want to leave you with, 3 things that I think that are going to help you with your perfectionism mindset. What I want you to do is work on your self-compassion. Work on forgiving yourself. Forgive yourself for today. Forgive yourself for yesterday. And forgive the people in your life who have put that label on you, that have pushed you to dim your light, that have pushed you to feel as though you are not good enough. Forgive them. Let it go. Forgiveness often just holds you back. Forgiveness doesn't have a hold on the person that you're not willing to forgive. Unless it's yourself. You're not willing to forgive yourself. It does have a hold on you. But if you're holding back forgiveness for somebody in your past who said negative things about you, maybe it's your parents, maybe it's people in your school, maybe it's your siblings. If you're holding that against them, that only has a hold on you. It doesn't hold them. It doesn't be in a disadvantage to them. They're not thinking about it. They probably don't care. So forgiveness releases you from that. So start forgiving yourself. Start forgiving others. Have that self-compassion. Have that compassion for others. Maybe they were in a wrong season of their life. They were in a season that made them be a person that they didn't want to be, and they acted out and they took that out on you. Forgive. Another thing that I want you to do is practice boldness. Practice boldness in imperfection. I don't remember the verse it is. If you know this verse, write it down below in the comments. I actually made a song of this when I graduated my elementary school, and it went like this: stand firm. Okay, I'm sorry in advance for my voice. Stand firm, let nothing move you. Don't worry, you're in God's hands. Time will come and time will go. Just keep your eyes on Him. Stand firm, let nothing move you. Don't worry, you're in God's hands. Time will come, time will go. Keep your eyes on Him. That verse may be paraphrased, but it's saying that you need to be bold. You need to stand firm. Don't let anything move you. Don't let other people's opinions, don't let yourself move you. Don't let the obstacles that you are making up in your brain move you from where you're supposed to be. Stand firm, let nothing move you. Don't worry. Don't think about all these things that could possibly hold you back from where you want to be. Stop thinking about it. Stop worrying about it. It's just holding you back. You're in God's hands. He's got you. He's got your back. Time will come and time will go. Keep your eyes on Him. Time is going to pass anyway. Whether you choose to listen to my advice today and work on these things, or you decide to stay where you're at, the time will pass anyway. If there's anything I've learned, is that time will go. Time will pass. It has no problem. It is no reverent. It doesn't revere nobody. So time's going to go on its own. Keep your eyes on God. Keep your eyes on the goal. Keep your eyes on the purpose. Keep your eyes on all the things that are going to push you forward. And honey, you are going to be dynamite.